Here, what's up, guys? Billy Cvecko here. We're with the one and only Brosnan. Sean Brosnan here, the coach of the Newbury Park cross-country track and field program. And we got to talk about some Newbury Park training.
All right, where'd you get those?
A lot of people, like you kind of just said, oh, anytime you're good, you assume these guys they're either cheating somehow or they're overworking, and when they get to college, they're going to be big busts, or they might not even make it through to college. You know, talk about a little bit about what your guys are doing, what you feel comfortable talking about, and the progression they make from freshman to senior year.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was at NXN, I think it was the year we won in 2019, and I heard this coach, and he was standing with someone else, I don't know who it was, and I'm not going to say the name of the college, but they said, oh, Newbury Park, they run 90 miles a week, that guy's going to kill them. And I'm going, geez. And he turns around and has no idea I'm the Newbury Park coach, doesn't even know what I look like. But it's like, no, we don't do that. It's like, I think it is a progression. I mean, even if you look at my freshman guys, like, you know, you take two guys that are going to be juniors next year, Lex and Leo, the two, the twins, Nico's younger brothers, and it's like, you know, those guys, they weren't running over 8 miles their freshman year. It's all about that for a long run. Yeah. I mean, it's all about progression. Everyone thinks, to me, I think you gotta you gotta just capitalize on what you have, and everything that you have or everything you do, it's got to be 100%. I don't mean all out miles, but you got to strength train. You got to get their hips strong. You got to get their glutes strong. You got to make sure their foot strike is right. This is all things we do. We got to make sure their iron is correct. We got to make sure their diet is good. Now, again, they're kids. They're going to do things off the beat, and I get that. But I think the more you teach these kids this stuff, and the more they see the importance. Now, it always helps having an older brother like Nico, who's a great example. But you know, our whole team has that. We have Nico, we have Jace, we have great runners that are now alumni of the program that are successful in college. So the whole point is to gradually build them up and not overtrain them. And I think when the good college coaches that call me and ask me what I'm doing with my guys, because those are the good coaches, and I'm open with them and I show them and I tell them exactly what I'm doing. I send them videos. I say, look at this guy. Like I'll give an example. Like I remember one summer I was like, you know, hey, like Nico's doing this tempo up at altitude, and it's like we're at 7,000 feet. I'll send the video to their coach and say, I just want you to see what he looks like. I'm not making this up. Yeah. And I think that's all important. And I think, you know, I mean, like today, we ran 3-4 miles. It was a shakeout day. It's like people don't see that side of my program when I say you need a day off or we need to do something easy, you know?
Yeah, and then like I was just talking to Lex and Leo, and they said like they only run like 11 or 12 miles for their long runs, which isn't even
That was the first time ever. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never did over 10 last year, yeah.
See? So that's
quality,
exactly the point. It is quality, but the point is they probably think like some of these other programs that are on the top of the podium a lot. Right. Again, not to name people, I've heard that they just run people into the ground and a lot, you know. So that's good to hear that's not something you're doing. But again, another thing I noticed is you said you're not training them at the pro level as in like the intensity, but you're doing all the little things.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many other coaches are making them with checking iron levels or you know, just doing bands before every run. Even if it was that 3-mile run today, what are the kids doing? I know you don't. You know, they do a little routine.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do rope stretching, which is active isolation stretching. The Whartons is kind of where I get it from, and we put a little twist of our own stuff in there. So we always rope stretch, and then we do the glute activation stuff, and that's why they have the green bands, and it's important. I mean, people think if you ever have glute injuries, I mean, this literally saved Nico from he had a lot of glute issues, and we fixed this and we addressed it. But to me, it's like those are the rabbit holes I fall in when I have a kid with an injury or something. I go to the extreme to figure out what I can do to help. I mean, I can't always, you know, I'm not a genius or I'm not the perfect coach, but I try to do everything I can in order to help them do that. And that's kind of how that came. You know, there's stuff that I'm adding to my program this year. You know, I'm really big on foot strike, and I'm kind of doing a lot of research on that. And I want to see, you know, the perfect foot strike and like just like the strength in that whole lower part of your leg and stuff like that. Now, some of it might be a wash, and I do a lot of research and I'll never use it, but I just think you always have to be doing something.
You're a sponge. You got the knowledge, and it's going to help somewhere else if it doesn't help.
Another great coach is Joe Douglas of Santa Monica Track Club. He's coached many guys under 145. I've had great conversations with him, and he's another guy who's big on research, and he's showed me a lot of amazing stuff that I use now that most people would be like, Joe Douglas. I'm like, no, he's an amazing encyclopedia for sure.
Another thing that confused me is the kids always say they do like weights, and I was thinking, I don't know, when I said that in college, I was doing the Olympic lifts, right? But they have actual weights on their ankles. So where did you get that from? And I never seen that. I know I haven't seen it all, but that was really interesting, but I think important.
You know, I get a little bit from the Whartons again, Jim and Phil Wharton. You know, that's kind of their routine, but then we added stuff to it. Okay. It's just a lot of that stuff is what I started trying to learn more about that because of our girls were getting a lot of hip injuries or hip soreness, and it's like that. So we work on our hips and we work on our hamstrings and stuff like that. So, I mean, the thing is when you do all this stuff, you don't always know if it's working, but if people are injury free, hopefully that means it's working because it's preventative. You can't do it after the fact. So, you know, a lot of stuff that I talk to PTs about or people I trust in the strengthening world, that's kind of where I get that stuff from, so.
That's perfect. I mean, for me, when I did all the little things, that's what got me better. I didn't really run in high school very much, and I was literally just going for runs. First couple years in college, just going for runs. When I actually started doing core, started eating right, started sleeping 8 to 10 hours a day, started doing all the things, I got so much better. So that's another reason, I think, another thing to the recipe that makes them, they're doing all the little things right.
Right.
Something that I know that Emma Coburn does with the team boss is a 10-day schedule opposed to a 7. Do you do that all year round, or is that just during certain seasons? And talk about why 10 over 7.
I'd say about 80% of the year. There are certain times of the year I won't do it. We didn't do it up here in Big Bear for the 4 weeks just because I wanted to get 4 long runs in, and I wanted to kind of, we didn't have as many workouts during the week because they came off a break, they ran for a week or two, and then now we're
at altitude.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go back to a 10-day schedule. I think it's important because what it does is I don't think you need a long run every 7 days. I never have. Everything that I've seen and research that I've done, I just don't think you need it. Now, doesn't mean I won't change to it one day, but we stay with the 10-day schedule. I've seen it work for athletes, pro athletes, myself. It gives them, it gives you that 10 days where you can get all the different, I'd say, cycles of all the different systems in there. You know, you can do legit speed work. You can do an anaerobic workout, a VO2 max if that's what people want. That's the big expression that people like to say now. And then you can do like other threshold stuff. I mean, you literally have 10 days. So if you have a Monday, and let's say you do like a classic workout, you do mile repeats, 4 or 5 times a mile for a high school kid on a Monday. Then you give them a recovery day on a Tuesday. You know, that's day 2. So you're on day 2. And then if they're still a little tired, you don't just go into another workout. Yeah. You can give them another easy day or recovery day. And then you can do a speed developmental day. And then you could do another recovery day. And then they might feel good because a speed day, most people tend to recover from quicker. Mm-hmm. And then you jostle it around. So as long as you get that long run in every 10 days, and then that's kind of like how I do it. And I just think it gives you more days of recovery and you get more real work in, because everyone tries to condense and say, oh, I got to get my long run in Sunday, but I just race Saturday.
I've been there so many times.
Right, and it works for us. And I think it gives the kids a little bit of relaxation on that long run every 7 days and forcing it.
I've heard you do speed all year round.
Yeah.
Do you? And is that why is that so important?
Well, yeah, we do. I mean, What
do you mean by speed?
Yeah, I mean, well, speed is crazy because people would be like, oh, you did 12 times 400, 16 times 400, 10 times 400, whatever, and they're like that. I mean, that's not speed. Speed is like speed developmental stuff. We'll do, even if it's like 200s. 150s, during cross country season on a grass field where we go every 50 meters gets faster, but the last 50 is like all out fast. Like I want you maxed. So it's like, I just think using that, and first of all, it works on your form, it works on your turnover. There's a lot of other things, and we'll video that, we'll watch your form. And we've had some freshmen that have just completely transformed from just, I think, doing those speed days. And it's kind of a throwaway day, like, to a lot of people in their head, but it's still a quality day. You'll do a solid, like a normal run be 8 miles maybe on the top guys, right? So let's say we do 5-6 miles, they'll do that, we'll do 5 miles instead, and then we'll do some 200, I call them progressive 200s, and then at the very end, they're really fast. Like we have cone every 50 meters, stuff like that is what we do. Not flying 30s or anything like that. Strides, we always do strides. Yes, we do strides after pretty much all runs, unless it's a workout. But ultimately, I think putting those days in there, at least one every 10 days, is a big part of our program, even when we're up at Big Bear, even when we're in the middle of a track season.
Okay. So another thing about training is I heard that a lot of people tempo wrong. Yeah. That's what I hear you say sometimes. What's a right way to tempo?
Well, I guess there's no way. I guess it's just how you define tempo. And I'm sure every coach would agree with me. You get that kid. Well, tempo means different things to different people. Let's take a 4 flat miler, someone who runs 4 flat in the mile, or let's say 4:10, a good high school guy, right? 4:10 in the mile. So he's a pretty solid runner. Usually my rule of thumb, and it's not always the case, but let's take a minute. You add a minute to that. That's 5:10. You should be able to tempo at 4 miles at 5:10 pace comfortably. If you're not, then you're aerobically challenged. but that's a good thing, because to me the aerobic side is the easiest thing to fix in an athlete. So if you could learn, and there's different things that we do to get there, but if you could learn how to tempo and hold back when you need to hold back. I mean, I told my guys yesterday in a tempo, it's like, I know which girls were, I had a few girls that were like racing a little too much.
Yeah.
They'll learn though, and it's like, and then they race and they only race like 20 seconds faster. You should not be racing 20 seconds faster in a 3-mile tempo than it's a learning curve. It takes long to figure out, but like the thing is but my best athletes listen young and they start young, and we'll do cruise miles. We do a mile a minute rest to teach them how to hit that pace. And then eventually they're doing 3-4 miles. I think 4 miles is a key in high school. I mean, you're racing 3 miles or 5K, so you should be able to tempo at 4 miles. 5 miles would be nice too, but it's a little long sometimes.
Yeah. So we're in Big Bear right now. Yeah. If people don't know, that's at like what, 6,500, 7,000 feet of elevation.
About 68, 69.
Yeah, okay. How many people do that in high school? I know a lot of college programs don't do that. Some pros, the best pros do. You guys are doing that in high school. Talk about how important that is, you think, to the rest of your season.
I think it's really important, and the first time I had a meeting, this is our 3rd year. This will be our 3rd year.
So you've been coaching 5 years?
I'm 5. Yeah, I'm going into my 6th year of coaching, right? So I've been coaching for 5 years, but this is my 3rd year coming to Big Bear as for a month. We always went to Big Bear for a week, like every other school goes to a Mammoth, Big Bear, Tahoe, wherever they go in California. That's the big California, week trips to do with the team. Some get houses, some get tents, whatever. Well, I know physiologically, if we can go for a month, I think you'll benefit a little bit from it. Now, that's not even the big key. The key is I think it gets you fit quickly. So I love doing it earlier in my season. We like to come up here. But the most important thing is, like, obviously the team camaraderie and just having everybody, bond. And as a team, I think is good. But when I first approached my parents and said, like, hey, I had this meeting, it was in February of a summer 3 years ago. I told them about the month. I mean, everyone said, no way. Yeah. 2 weeks, maybe 10 days. But then slowly but surely, I think I had one parent as a joke. He's like, you can have them all summer, And I was like, okay. And then he was going, then another person. So my first year I had 12 guys come up. Okay. Now this year I had 13 guys for a month and I had 9 girls. We had the girls first time ever last year. So this is their 2nd year with the girls. And we have a pretty good group. We have, the parents volunteer, stay at the girls' house. I stay at the guys' house. And I just think it's an important part of our program. And now they're going to go back. They're ahead of the game. They're going to go into their training. And then, our hardest training of the year is September and October. And that's what we're getting ready for.
And I think it's like you said, it's awesome for training because not many other people are doing it for that long. Yeah. But the camaraderie is awesome. You guys have like talent shows and you have little competitions. You do a lot of fun stuff. I saw you, go swimming in the lake. You rented some pontoon boats. Yeah. So I think that's something they'll talk about forever. Remember the summer? It's like a summer camp as well as working hard. I think the last one over on the training thing is I noticed that you don't like dairy. Is that something you want to talk about?
Yeah, it's funny. Everyone always says to me.
I love milk, man.
It's inflammatory. It's an inflammatory. It's actually like a reverse effect of recovery. Everything that I've learned from it. Yeah, I'm not a big dairy person. I just don't think that. I mean, obviously I'll have cheese every once in a while, like personally, but I just, when people ask and the whole chocolate milk recovery thing blows my mind. That whole, from my understanding, that whole study was done by the dairy industry, of course, but it's an inflammatory. So I think it does a reverse effect. I just don't see the benefit of it. Most of our bodies aren't, it's made to reject it, not take it in, but we kind of learn at a young age to have it. I'm just not a big dairy person. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of my kids on my team that drink it. There's nothing I can do, but if they ask me, I'll let them know. So
I had to, they helped me with this list. They said, ask them about the dairy thing.
Yeah, we have oat milk and almond milk in there. So I'll go with the oat milk. I'm allergic to almonds, so it's good.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach. Appreciate you. Good luck this year.
You should get out to NXN. I'll jump, hopefully jump on the stage. I'll wear a Toad shirt.
Yeah.